Welcome back to Sound 101. I'm Andrew from Deity Microphones, and this is a mailbag episode, which means we are graced with the presence of Deity Steve.
Hey.
So let's get started.
All right, our first question comes from Rob Christensen, which also means Rob has just won a vlog.
That is right. If you are the first person in these mailbag episodes and we use your question because you did drop it in the comment section below, you win free gear from us. All you got to do is ask us a simple question. So if you're watching right now on your phone like this, turn it like this, scroll up and just start dropping a question right now. You don't even have to stop the episode to do it. You can just do it right now.
Yeah.
So Steve, what is the question?
The question from Rob Christensen is, what is the biggest sound F-up you've made on set that you were still able to fix in post? And how did you fix it? What did you do afterwards to prevent yourself from screwing up again?
You're trying to roast me, Steve, aren't you?
I think Rob's trying to roast you. I'm just helping.
Well, actually, I was shooting a wedding probably about a decade ago when the concept of like wireless wasn't good enough. So what we did back then was we put Zoom H1s into people's pockets, like either in their pants pocket, up in the chest pocket, and then ran a lav to their lapel. The Zoom H1 has a headphone jack on one side and a lavalier jack exactly 180 degrees on the other side of the unit.
You can see where this is going.
Yeah. So I was very tired. We were shooting the day before, very long day, and I plugged the lavalier into the headphone jack, and I popped that recorder into the man's pocket. So for the whole wedding, I recorded a man's pants. How did I fix it? This is where we got really creative because the priest, luckily, is only standing, 2 feet away, and he is wearing a lapel as well. So I actually had to boost his audio like crazy in order to get any kind of usable audio from the bride and the groom for that wedding. And then we spent hours and hours in post cleaning up that audio as best as we could. And then we put background music over it to get rid of all the digital artifacts that existed back then.
Right, 10 years ago.
10 years ago, post. I think the software we used back then was called DV Sound Soap.
Ooh.
And I don't know if it still exists, but that's what we used back then, and it was rudimentary. But we got our best, what we could at the time. Apologize to the bride and groom, but they were much more interested, luckily, knowing that they could hear each other. But you sit there and you say, I'm never going to do this again.
Hard lesson to learn.
Very hard lesson to learn. And I now have a question for you so that people out there can learn their own lessons. How can you guys appear to be using what looks like short shotgun microphones indoors when it is common in a podcast or video type setup like this to use dynamics in what appears to be our untreated studio? How are you getting such good results there, Steve?
Right. So it is true. The S-Mic 2S is a short shotgun condenser mic, not a dynamic mic, which a lot of people do use in podcast situations. Mm-hmm. The main thing we have going for us is proximity. Most people who would be using this microphone, if they're booming it, you're going to have a little bit more space between your mouth and the capsule than we do.
Right. I'm right up on this pop filter.
Yes. So because of that, we can afford to underdrive our preamps, and it sounds pretty good. We're not picking up a lot of the room noise. Believe it or not, we are not in a treated room.
Yeah, I've got a concrete wall to my right, open rafter ceiling here. The panels, these are fake. They don't have anything in them.
It's a set.
It's a set.
And there's a good amount of traffic going on 50 feet that way. So
yeah, we also
foot traffic as well.
Foot traffic.
People just bang on our windows sometimes. So there is a lot of noise going around here, but the microphone is just not picking it up because we are able to be so close. The thing we are using as a preventative measure are these pop filters.
That's mostly for our plosives because sometimes you have to pick up pizzas pronto.
There you go. And in addition, we do some post work. Mostly it's a declick sound. I'm a particularly bad offender on the click.
That's why we got the tea for you.
Trying to stay moisturized. My mouth is moisturized. And
you have a moist mouth, Steve.
No, I have a dry mouth.
Oh.
So you guys at home can hear just how bad it is. We will have our producer, Justin, isolate my mouth clicks using the plugin. We use Isotope Mouth Declick. And here's a sample of just me asking Andrew, hey, Andrew, what did you have for breakfast today? We also try to do all the common sense stuff that we can in our room, everything we have control over. So we turn the AC off. Sometimes our battery chargers have this high-pitched hiss, so we make sure that that's not happening. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, like when we know a noticeably loud truck drives by, or an airplane, or, we live in Los Angeles, so helicopters,
Ambulance.
we wait. We redo a take. I mean, it's pretty basic kind of stuff that you would normally do on a film set. We just treat it like that for this podcast video thing that we do.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, got another question for you from Charlie. I was on a shoot the other day recording audio and was told by the post sound dude that I was creeping into his territory. I was basically turning the trim down to mute as a character walked off into the distance. He said he would do that anyway in post. At what point do my duty stop and post begin?
So we actually did a ton of debating about this question before doing this taping for you guys. And I think we came down to one really key word in this question from Charlie, and that is trim. So if indeed he was doing the trim, which is often used as a gain knob, then yes, you were definitely creeping into the territory of post. Sorry. If you were using a fader, which is different than trim, we have a whole video all about it right here. You definitely weren't creeping into their territory. So if it is trim, that means the isolated recorded tracks were also being muted, which means post-production cannot go in and try to remix everything. If indeed it was the fader, you were just affecting the stereo mix, which is your job. You are a stereo recordist, mixer kind of position. That stereo mix is your job, is to get as creative as possible. So if that person is walking away, bring it down. Add that into, again, the stereo mix. But don't mess with those isolated recording files. That is for post to work with. And if you do mess with them, you've really kind of messed up what they have as a potential use for them to remix if they don't like your mix that you submitted.
And in a way to prevent this, do you have any sort of tips for people, like some way to delineate responsibilities on set?
So the way I do it is, one, with my gear. I make sure that everything I'm recording is post fader that goes to mix, and that all my ISOs are recorded pre-fader. There are mixers on the market that allow you to record your ISOs post fader as well, and it sounds like that may have been the situation, which sucks. Now it comes into the bigger, broader question, which is, what are you supposed to be doing in all of this? How's that dance between post and production work? And that is communication. At the end of the day, find out what they really want. If they want isolated tracks, or if they want really good, perfect post-fader tracks.
Yeah.
Really, give them both. Why not? It's free. It's an SD card. Add a little bit of extra storage to your day. So I've got one last question for you, Steve, and it's from Anders. How do you get the most out of the use of the Deity Connect system with the HDTX combo for interviews versus narrative shoots?
Cool. Okay. Great question. The HDTX really adds a lot to your setup no matter what you're on. But in an interview, you might use it a little differently than you would on narrative. I think the thing that it affords you most is having a wireless boom. And on an interview, that may be just a means of convenience because you're probably not going to be far from the camera setup in the first place. You're in a small area. You're probably using a boom holder or holding something stationary, so it's not really going to allow you to do too much new stuff. If you're on a narrative shoot, a wireless boom, there's going to be more people on set, more people in the way, really way more flexibility in the narrative world.
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to that, if you don't have the rest of the Connect system, so you don't have a receiver and you don't want to be using the wireless feature, you can individually buy an HDTX, use it as a recorder, and still have a wireless boom.
Yeah, that's true. Someone who made that, really smart person.
Yes. What more can I say?
Nothing. I mean, that's it. That's the end of the episode. There's nothing else to say, actually, Steve. So in that case, we do have to wrap it up, and you got to hit the subscribe button if you want more videos like this every single week. Usually we post on Mondays, but if you want to know exactly when on Monday we post, you got to hit that bell for those notifications. And if you want to be included on these mailbag episodes, we need your involvement. That means you down in the comment section asking us questions that you want answered by Steve and I on the next episode of Mailbag. We love your input. We never would have come up with these questions on our own, would we?
No,
we're not that creative.
And you could win a VLOV.
And you could win a VLOV, exactly. But I am Andrew from Deity Microphones. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.